The country's top three political parties are facing off in the Johannesburg City Council ahead of the election of a new mayor. The ANC's Johannesburg Region Chair, Jeff Makhubo, the DA's Mayoral Committee Member for Finance, Funzela Ngobeni, and the EFF's Johannesburg Regional Chair, Musa Novela, are the candidates contesting the position. Last week, Council Speaker Vasco da Gama postponed the sitting, saying he needed legal opinion on what constitutes a majority in the council. The post became vacant after DA Herman Mashaba abruptly resigned. Well, for more on this top story, we cross to our reporter, Natasha Phiri, who has been observing the situation at the council since morning. Natasha, over to you.
Well, a very good afternoon to you once again, Nompo, and of course to our SABC viewers. What I can hear just standing outside these chambers are members of council actually coming in. We've got members of the ANC actually quite in a jovial mood, singing songs. I don't know if this somewhat now signifies that they actually will emerge victorious with their candidates, their Jeff Makhubo. But just quite interestingly, just after when they actually had convened for lunch, Nompu, a message came through from our colleague Mangoba Mkhunu, who was actually having an interview with EFF leader Julius Malema. And of course, Mangoba had posed this question as to, will the ANC be supporting the EFF, or will the EFF be supporting the ANC? And the response that we got from Julius Malema saying there that they won't be supporting the ANC, as the ANC had fielded their mayoral candidate Jeff Makhubo, and they say that Jeff actually is somewhat involved. They allege that Jeff is involved in corrupt activities, therefore they won't be supporting the ANC. They also have, however, said that they won't be supporting the DA either, and of course they'll be backing their own candidate, Musa Novela. There, I tried to approach Musa Novela while he was eating lunch, asking him if he could, confirm this information that we have received as the SABC. And he says, listen, if leadership has decided that is the final directive, that is the final decision, then they have to oblige for that. So just interesting times. We were supposed to speak to John Moody earlier on, who I understand the leader of the DA, Helen Zille, had tried to also reach out to the EFF, and it seems as if talks between those two parties had actually fallen out. And of course, my colleague Mangoba had actually confirmed this with the EFF leader, Julius Malema. So it seems as if each party will have to then stay in its own lane and actually vote for their own candidates. But just to remind you of those numbers, how many seats and how many councillors are actually currently in council today, it's 267 councillors, Nompu. As indicated earlier on, first it was 269, but of course we were told that another councillor there from the DA has actually fallen ill and will not be able to come to council today. So, one would ask themselves, does this actually mean a loss for the DA? It seems as if the DA is in a tight corner as of right now. Nompu.
Asha, earlier you spoke to Lebogang Maile about what happens if there isn't a new mayor elected, and he said that he would take over the city. Just tell us a little bit about that, and surely that must be unprecedented.
Definitely, Nompo. I mean, this decision did not sit well. The postponement of council last week, Friday, did not sit well with, the MEC of Kokta, Lebogang Maile. As from last week, he wrote the first letter to the Speaker of Council, Vasco da Gama, asking him what was actually going on. And he was actually concerned about the postponement. He also requested a written representation from Vasco da Gama as to why he should not be suspended and removed from council, pending that decision. As you'll recall, yesterday we spoke to Lebogang Maile, and Lebogang had said that the Speaker of the Chair of Council, I beg your pardon, is not above Council. In terms of the Constitution, Council is the highest decision-making body. So basically, in simple terms, Lebogang Maile, they're saying that Vasco da Gama had no powers to actually postpone the election of that mayor. And just yesterday, he wrote a second letter urging him to convene an urgent meeting with the chief whips to actually clarify, the legalities around what the majority of votes in council actually meant. We also saw there the Premier of Gauteng, Premier David Makhura, sending a stern warning, giving the council, Johannesburg Council, an ultimatum to either get their house in order, to get their house in in order, I beg your pardon, Nompu, or else the provincial government will actually then intervene. But just lately speaking to him, he had said that he is happy with the way that things are actually going. Voting is underway, and voting, I beg your pardon, will be underway anytime from now on. And of course, the MEC has left, so anytime from now, voting will then proceed. Of course, those three candidates, Makubo of the ANC, Nobela of the EFF, and Ngobeni of the DA. Anytime from now, Nompu, around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, Johannesburg residents will finally know who their mayoral candidates will be. After a week of postponement, Nompu, after a week of a city being leaderless, and of course, just sussing out various reactions from the Johannesburg residents. Some of them weren't happy with that at all, saying that at the heart of this is the residents that will be affected. At the heart of this is service delivery that will be affected. But Nombo, I mean, this is the economic hub of the country. Of course, a highly contested, city. The stakes are very, very high. I mean, this is a city that actually sits with a budget of 64 billion rand. So, of course, you can expect high contestations here. But, of course, Johannesburg residents will have to wait an hour or two more to find out who their new mayor will be.
Super. Thanks very much, Natasha, for that report.